All right, so let's talk about what just happened. Because this wasn't just a product drop. This wasn't your typical athlete releases merch. Fans buy it, everybody claps moment. This was a cultural explosion. Shedeur Sanders, the quarterback, the son of Deion Primetime Sanders, the rising icon in cleats and chains, just launched his official logo with Nike. And within 1 hour of the drop, Nike's servers? Gone. Crashed. Flatlined. That's not hype. That's history. If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. In 72 hours, Shedeur's merchandise outsold what some of Nike's most established athletes, pulling over entire fiscal quarters. We're talking numbers that broke projections, shut down systems, and forced emergency meetings in Nike's executive suites. And the craziest part? This wasn't just a sports moment. It was a culture bomb. This is bigger than football, bigger than merch. This is the beginning of something seismic, a reshaping of what athlete branding even means. Let's break it down. Because Shedeur didn't just launch a logo. He launched a movement. And if you're just tuning in, oh honey, you're late, but I got you. So first of all, yes, the sales were insane. Like, legitimately record-shattering. Nike's back end couldn't keep up. Fans were locked out of checkout pages. Screens were freezing. Error 504 became the most tweeted phrase in sportswear for a full hour. People weren't just buying gear. They were treating this drop like a ticket to the future, a badge of cultural participation. You weren't just getting a hoodie. You were getting a piece of the Shedeur Sanders phenomenon. And you know what that tells us? This wasn't about fandom. This was about belonging. That's the Shedeur effect. He's not just an athlete. He's a lifestyle symbol. He represents ambition, youth, swagger, and unapologetic self-worth in a world that still expects young players to stay quiet, say yes, sir, and take whatever deal gets thrown their way. Shedeur looked at all that and said, nope, I'll pass. I'll build something better. And now, Nike's scrambling to keep up. Internally, the company's doing a full pivot. Factory resources, reallocated. Marketing campaigns, paused and reassessed. Distribution strategies, restructured overnight. There are entire teams at Nike who, 3 weeks ago, had no idea what a Shedeur even was, and now he's their entire job. Because Nike's no fool. They've been through this before. They remember what it looked like when a young kid named Michael Jordan changed the game. They remember when LeBron became more than a name on a sneaker box. But Shedeur's not a repeat of anyone. He's the first of something. A hybrid athlete-entrepreneur digital native culture leader who understands the power of audience and authenticity better than most marketing departments. And the logo? Let's talk about that. Because it's not just 2 letters mashed together. It's art. It's identity. The SS, design carries layers of meaning. Crown symbolism, geometric precision, visual minimalism with emotional weight. It's not just a logo. It's a statement. It says, I'm not waiting to be great. I am great. Recognize it. And clearly, people do. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Because this wasn't just a success story. This was a disruption. Other brands? Panicking. Adidas, Puma, Under Armour. You could almost hear the collective, oh, across the boardrooms. Why? Because they missed it. They didn't see it coming. And now, they're left trying to reverse engineer a moment that was organic, authentic, and perfectly timed. They're digging through their rosters, wondering who their Shedeur is. Newsflash, there isn't one. Not because no other athlete is talented, but because no one else has this combination of cultural awareness, social media instinct, personal story, and digital charisma. That stuff can't be faked. And it sure as hell can't be copy-pasted. So while the competitors are scrambling to roll out half-baked influencer campaigns, Nike is doubling down. They've already fast-tracked Shedeur for global rollouts. Not just America. Everywhere. Europe, Asia, South America, the Middle East. This is no longer about selling hoodies in Colorado. This is about building an international brand that touches sports, music, fashion, tech, and whatever else Shedeur decides to conquer next. And let's not overlook the resale insanity. because the moment these limited drops hit the secondary market, the price is skyrocketed. We're talking 4x, 5x markups. Some early edition hoodies are now moving like rare sneakers. The hype is already pushing into StockX territory, and these aren't even shoes. This is just merch. Collectors are treating it like a blue chip stock. You know what that means? This isn't a product anymore. It's an asset. And Shedeur Sanders? He's not just an athlete. He's an economy. So how did we get here? It wasn't luck. It was strategy. Every move Shedeur makes is intentional. His social media, a masterclass in audience engagement. Not overproduced, not tone deaf, just real. He posts what he wants, when he wants, how he wants. Fans feel like they're part of his world, not just watching from a distance. He invites them in. And once you're in, you're loyal. You're invested. He doesn't need ESPN headlines. He's got his own channels. That's power. And that's why brands can't lowball him anymore. That's why Nike's shifting their internal playbook to accommodate him instead of expecting him to mold to theirs. He's not a piece of their puzzle. He is the new puzzle. But let's also talk about the risk. Because, yeah, the hype is sky high right now, but there's always a chance of oversaturation, of backlash, of falling off the radar. What happens if Shedeur doesn't perform on the field? What if he misses a step? What if the next drop doesn't hit as hard? These are valid questions, and Nike's asking them too. Behind the scenes, there's probably a whiteboard filled with risk matrices and PR contingency plans. But here's the thing. Shedeur's success isn't tied to stats. Not fully. He's not just being positioned as Shedeur the quarterback. He's Shedeur the brand architect, the athlete as entrepreneur, the face of a movement. And that could be sustained, even if his game goes through the normal rookie ups and downs. Because when your value is based on cultural resonance, not just athletic dominance, you've got room to evolve, to expand, to pivot. That's what makes this so revolutionary. This isn't just the start of a hot merch line. It's the beginning of an athlete ecosystem. Shedeur's logo is going to show up in places that have nothing to do with sports, in fashion collabs, in music videos, on stage at concerts, in digital experiences, maybe even in the metaverse, if that thing ever gets it together. Nike knows this. They're already building the infrastructure. They're investing in AR, in blockchain-based authentication, in app-based fan engagement tools. They're turning Shedeur from a merch success story into a tech-integrated lifestyle icon. And let's be honest, this is what the next decade of athlete marketing is going to look like. Not performance first, but personality first. Not goals per game, but goals per post. Not just how well you play, but how well you connect. And in that department, Shedeur's already the MVP. So here we are, one logo drop later, and the sports world looks completely different. Nike's entire marketing structure is shifting. Competitors are panicking. Fans are buying faster than bots. The resale market is acting like this merch is made of gold. And Shedeur? He's probably sitting somewhere calm as ever, smiling to himself, already thinking about the next drop, the next evolution, the next boundary to break. Because that's the real Shedeur effect. It's not just about crashing servers or selling out hoodies. It's about redefining the game, rewriting the rules, and doing it all without asking for permission. So tell me, did you see this coming? Are we witnessing the rise of a new cultural titan? Or is this just the beginning of an even bigger shift in athlete branding? Either way, hit the comments. Tell us what you think of the Shedeur effect. And don't forget to subscribe, because if this is how things start, not next year. Not when he wins some arbitrary sports award. Not after a breakout NFL season. No, right now. Because in the span of a few hours, and let's not gloss over how fast this happened, Shedeur Sanders went from being the QB with the famous dad to the face of a global movement. And the thing is, no one was ready. Nike? Caught off guard. Scrambling mid-launch like someone pulled the fire alarm in their corporate headquarters. The competition? Probably still running diagnostics, trying to figure out how a single logo drop torpedoed their fourth quarter projections. The industry? Stunned. Quiet. Watching. And most of all, recalculating. Because when an athlete crashes servers before he even signs his rookie jersey, the equation changes. You don't just adjust your marketing strategy. You rewrite the laws of physics in the sports business universe. And Shedeur? He's not following anyone's formula. He's building a blueprint on his own terms. And it's working. Let's revisit the drop itself. That now legendary logo launch. It wasn't just efficient. It was cinematic. No overproduced, corporate-backed montage. No awkward press conference with a brand exec grinning next to him like a proud parent. Nah, Shedeur did it the way Gen Z knows how, with narrative, subtle teases, visuals that felt more like a music video than an ad campaign, behind-the-scenes clips that looked candid but were clearly crafted, drops timed to the hour, aligned with trending moments, tuned into algorithms like they were part of the design team. It wasn't marketing. It was storytelling. And here's the thing. Nike's biggest W wasn't the product itself. It was saying yes to Shedeur's vision. They let him lead. They let the logo speak in his voice. They didn't try to polish it into some beige, bland, corporate safe aesthetic. They let it breathe, let it hit, and it exploded. But here's what's wild. This isn't even Shedeur at full speed. This was phase one. If you think a logo launch is the peak, you haven't been paying attention. This man has plans. You can feel it in how he moves. You don't orchestrate a launch that flawless by accident. You don't break sales records by being lucky. This isn't lightning in a bottle. It's weather control. Because Shedeur's not chasing virality. He's engineering it. Look at the way every piece of this drop synced up with his online presence. The rollouts, the timing, the placement. It all lined up like clockwork. IG stories previewing unreleased designs. Tweets timed like punchlines. Music clips syncing with visuals. And all of it looped back to the central brand. Shedeur, this isn't a merch line. This is a media ecosystem. And that's why this matters more than a few shirts or a crashy website. Because this moment, this storm, isn't just about clothing. It's about ownership, of narrative, of power, of platforms. Shedeur didn't just sell out a drop. He sold the idea of being in control of your own value. And that's dangerous if you're someone used to controlling the game, because for decades, athletes were told their worth was based on performance. Score the points, win the games. Then, and only then, do the offers come. And even then, it's a room full of executives deciding how much you're worth based on a spreadsheet. But Shedeur flipped the table. He said, my value isn't up for discussion. It's proven in influence, in community, in impact. He didn't ask for validation. He created demand. And now that the world's seen what that looks like, good luck putting that genie back in the bottle. And while we're here, can we talk about the cultural timing of all this? Because this isn't happening in a vacuum. We're living in a moment where identity, entrepreneurship, and digital presence have become the holy trinity of influence. People aren't looking for brands. They're looking for symbols, for something that reflects who they are and where they're going. And Shedeur, he gets that. He knows that for a whole generation, success doesn't look like a highlight reel. It looks like creative freedom, autonomy, personal brand equity. He's not just selling a product. He's giving people a way to say, this is who I align with. That's why the drop resonated so hard. Because it wasn't just a jersey or a hoodie. It was an invitation to be part of the movement, to wear a piece of the future, to say, I see where this is going and I'm already there. And when you frame it like that, the sales numbers make sense. It's not a sportswear story. It's a culture hack. And if you're still clinging to the idea that this is just a passing hype wave, good luck with that. Because Nike, they're not treating it like a fluke. They've already restructured their pipeline to accommodate the surge in demand. They've already reassigned entire teams to the Shedeur vertical. They're not reacting anymore. They're building a full-blown empire if they have their way. And you know what? The competitors should be worried. Because while they're out here dusting off old strategies and panicking over Gen Z engagement, Shedeur's brand is already on its way to global relevance. Not American relevance. Not sports fan relevance. Global. We're talking international streetwear crossovers. We're talking music collabs. We're talking immersive tech integrations, AR, blockchain-backed digital merch, full-on gamification of fan loyalty. This isn't about selling gear anymore. It's about designing experience. Nike's infrastructure already being retrofitted to support this future. And Shedeur, he's not waiting. He's directing it. Let's be clear. This is going to change how athletes are evaluated forever. We're no longer asking, how many yards did you throw for? Now we're asking, how many cultural sectors do you influence? How deep is your audience loyalty? How fast can your drop crash a website? Because suddenly, those are the metrics that matter. And Shedeur is sitting at the top of the leaderboard. Don't be surprised when draft prospects start coming in with full brand strategies, digital engagement stats, and merch presale figures. That's the future Shedeur just unlocked. Performance still matters, of course, but influence? Influence commands equity. He proved that. And now, everyone else has to catch up or get left behind. And don't think Shedeur doesn't know exactly what he's doing. You can see it in every interview, every quote, the calm confidence, the refusal to flinch. He's not reacting to success. He's expecting it. He's been playing this long game since high school, watching, learning, building. Every piece of this launch was already in motion before the rest of the world even realized what he was planning. And now that it's here, he's not letting up, because this isn't the final form. This is just a demo. So go ahead, rewatch the logo drop, refresh the sold-out product page, scroll through the thousands of comments, videos, breakdowns, TikToks, reaction threads. Soak it all in, because this is what it looks like when someone steps out of the system and becomes their own system. This is what happens when branding, strategy, and culture align in real time. This is a Shedeur effect. Oh, you thought that was the end? No. We're not nearly done unpacking the chaos that is the Shedeur effect. Because what we're watching isn't just the story of a breakout quarterback or a clever merch launch. This is something bigger, more layered, more dangerous. At least to every outdated executive still stuck in the fantasy that they control the narrative. Let's call it what it is. Shedeur Sanders didn't just drop a logo. He declared war on the status quo. And the craziest part? He did it without raising his voice. No screaming. No dramatic press conference. No, I've had enough social media rant. Just a clean, calculated rollout. And then he let the world do the talking. Nike's servers crashed. Fans lost their minds. The merch resold like it was rare art. And somewhere in the middle of all that frenzy, something really interesting happened. The power shifted. Let me say it louder for the legacy sports industry in the back. The power shifted. Because when a single athlete, not a league MVP, not a Super Bowl winner, not a household name, can drop a logo and spark this level of economic, cultural, and brand disruption, that means the old systems, they're done, dead, dusted. Shedeur Sanders didn't just launch a line of hoodies. He just redefined the modern athlete. And that's what has everyone shook. Because this wasn't supposed to be him. You know how it goes. The system was rigged for rookies to shut up and play, to accept the endorsement crumbs, to wait their turn, to be grateful for the opportunity. But Shedeur came into the league already knowing who he was, with a personal brand so sharp it cut through the noise before he even threw a pass. And now he's calling the shots. Let's talk about the SS logo again, because it's not just aesthetically slick. It's loaded. Every angle, every element, says something without shouting. The crown symbolism, it's not subtle. It says, I'm royalty, and I'm not waiting for your approval to act like it. The symmetry, confidence, balance, structure, the fact that the initials stand alone, instantly recognizable, that's branding at the highest level. You don't stumble into a logo like that. It's legacy work. And if you think this isn't carefully planned, you're not paying attention. This is a long game disguised as a launch. A 5-year roadmap dressed like a fashion drop. Because the merch, it was never about the merch. It was about proving a point. And that point is now glowing red on the dashboards of every major brand executive, sports agent, and marketing director who just realized they're 5 years behind. And Shedeur's already outpacing them with a camera phone and a hoodie. Let's also not ignore the fan base. Because this isn't just Nike stands and football bros lining up for product. This is everyone. Young kids who see themselves in him. Streetwear heads who know authenticity when they see it. Tech-savvy consumers who love the integration of AR and digital tools. Even casual fans who just want to wear something that feels fresh and real. And that's the secret. Shedeur's brand doesn't just resonate. It includes, there's no exclusivity flex, no elitism. He doesn't present his brand as too cool for you. He makes you feel like you're part of something big, something generational. And that's exactly why people are buying, not just with their wallets, but with their loyalty. It's easy to throw money at something once. But Shedeur's building a movement people want to keep up with. People want to wear. People want to live inside. That's the stuff you can't manufacture. That's what consultants call cultural equity. That's what boardrooms pray for when they pour millions into campaigns that still flop. But Shedeur, he got it for free. Why? Because it's real. And now let's talk competitors. Because they're panicking. You can hear the whiteboards squeaking from here. Let's get younger talent. Let's do a digital-first campaign. Let's lean into authentic storytelling. Too late. You can't fake what Shedeur's built. You can't plug a rookie into a formula and get the same result. Because the secret sauce isn't a clever slogan, it's credibility. And he has it in spades. From the locker room to the internet to the front row of a Travis Scott concert. Shedeur exists in multiple universes at once. He doesn't try to fit in. He already does. So now you got these brands scrambling to find the next Shedeur, not realizing there isn't one. Because this kind of phenomenon doesn't happen often. You don't find it. You recognize it while it's happening. And Nike? Say what you will, they recognized it. They saw the shift coming. And to their credit, they didn't get in the way. They let it happen. They opened the doors. They moved the product. And then they watched as the floodgates broke. And now, they're all in. Production lines, repurposed. Supply chains, realigned. Future campaigns, adjusted to center him. He's not an add-on to Nike strategy. He is the strategy now. Now here's the real question. What happens next? Because if Shedeur wanted to, he could keep this momentum in merch forever. Do seasonal drops. Collaborate with luxury brands. Drop exclusive capsules with resale value. So high it makes sneakerheads cry. All of that? Easy. But you can feel something else building. There's something bigger coming. Something more than hoodies and hype. Fashion line? Probably. Media company? Wouldn't be shocked. A multi-brand empire that extends into entertainment, tech, and philanthropy? Honestly, it feels inevitable. Because Shedeur isn't chasing influence. He's wielding it. And that's a rare thing. It's one thing to go viral. It's another to understand why you did, and use it to build something that lasts. That's what separates hype from history. And make no mistake, we are watching history happen in real time. So whether you're cheering him on, analyzing the business model, or just sitting back and watching the chaos unfold, one thing's for sure. You can't ignore this anymore. You can't dismiss it as a rookie moment. You can't pretend it's all hype. You can't hide behind old school metrics. Because when the servers crash, the fans mobilize, and your biggest competitor rewrites their entire strategy because of one drop. That's not a flash in the pan. That's a paradigm shift. So, let's wrap this with one final thought. Shedeur Sanders didn't just release a logo. He released a blueprint for the future of athlete branding. A model built on independence, on strategy, on self-valuation, on the radical idea that athletes aren't products, they're platforms. And now that that idea is out in the world, there's no putting it back. So get ready, because this isn't a wave. This is a new tide. And Shedeur, he's just getting started.